Viwe Chilwana.
I'm Lubika Rawood. For more information on the work that we do and how you can help us to help others, please visit our website www.secondchances.org.za.
In Junior Achievement South Africa, its focus is really to expose youngsters within high school and out of school to entrepreneurial thinking, and ours is focused at high school from grade 10 to 12.
I'm very big on youth empowerment and making a difference and touching lives and impacting the lives of our young people. That's practically what I do with my foundation as well, and ever since I was crowned as Miss SA.
The goal of the magazine is to basically share information that will be able to assist small business owners.
You're listening to The Social Show with Viwe Chilwana
And Lubika Rawood, live on brandlive.co.za. Sees runners and walkers explore a scenic route across the southern suburbs of the city. Participants in the half marathon and the 6 kilometers inter-schools fun run or walk events are also invited to bring stuffed toys and teddy bears along on the day, which are collected for Red Cross. David Stevens, Executive Director of Friends of Children's Hospital Association, says the toys will make a massive difference to the children being treated at the facility, and he is deeply grateful to everyone who donated the toys this year.
The Struendale plant of General Motors South Africa has received its conservation certification for invasive species control from the Wildlife Habitat Council. The plant was recognized by the International Council, which monitors habitat conservation and management on corporate land for its control of alien inkberry, Rooikrans and Port Jackson. Situated in the light industrial belt on Struenway, the site was vulnerable to the importation of alien seed, General Motors South Africa Group Environmental Manager Ngedisa Msuzu said. She also said that there is a high risk of the species spreading from off-site to on-site, mostly through bird droppings or wind scatter, as Port Elizabeth is a very windy city with high velocity wind speeds. While the inkberry shrub is originally from Brazil, Rooikrans and Port Jackson trees are both acacias originally from Australia. Besides General Motors South Africa's obligations under South Africa environmental legislation, they also had a commitment in terms of the ISO 14001 certification and the UN Global Sustainable Development Goals, both of which call for protection of resources.
Mercedes-Benz South Africa has embarked on an ambitious project. In partnership with Beautiful News and 24.com, Mercedes brings South Africa a series of films and photography portraying positive stories dedicated to the people of this country and continent. From Tuesday, the 1st of November, each day at 4:15 actually, for the next year, the Beautiful News platform will release a beautiful news story reflecting on the goodness of everyday people. Selvin Govender, Marketing Director, commented that South Africa is a fascinating country with diverse cultures and its citizens have an amazing entrepreneurial spirit, and that goes a long way to showcasing their selflessness and human kindness to their fellow man, which is why Mercedes is excited at the prospect of fulfilling their goal of bringing a beautiful news stories every day of the next year as a reminder of the responsibility they have to all people. The creator of Beautiful News is photographer and filmmaker Adrian Stern, who promises to continue on his journey of portraying a true reflection of South Africa and its people. Beautiful News will focus on a variety of genres, including incredible individuals, community role models, thought leaders, and inspiring people with a passion for life, among others. To watch, visit www.beautifulnews.co.za or follow the hashtag Beautiful News.
The Dis-Chem Foundation donated 300,000 Rand to the Smile Foundation in light of the Smile Week that was sponsored by the foundation. The donation helped 20 children receive life-changing surgery earlier this year. A 17-year-old boy by the name of Shayman in particular received surgery that helped him regain movement in his cheek after the left side of his face was paralyzed after fighting cancer. Shaman was one of 20 children who received life-changing surgery at the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital in Johannesburg. These are children with cleft lips and palates, various forms of facial paralysis, which is also known as Moebius syndrome, and a range of other conditions. This organization, or the Smile Foundation, hosts up to 12 action-packed Smile Weeks at academic hospitals in South Africa every year, and every child gets the unique care they require, whether it is their very first or final surgery. Smile Weeks also help hospitals to reduce any backlog of patients waiting for such specialized operations. The Dis-Chem Foundation's donation helped to cover all the surgical consumables for these operations.
Alaska Airlines made history this week when they completed the first commercial airplane flight powered by renewable biofuel. The flight went from Seattle Tacoma International Airport to Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C., using a blend of jet fuel made from forest residue such as branches and bark. The excess biomass left over from forest thinning is typically piled and burned. The forest residue for the fuels were collected from sustainably managed forests in the Pacific Northwest. Using the renewable biofuel instead of traditional jet fuel cuts greenhouse gases emissions by 50 to 80% from its creation to its use. Though one flight doesn't seem like enough to make a huge dent in the airline's carbon footprint, the company plans on replacing 20% of its fuel use with green energy, saving the atmosphere from 1,420 metric tons of carbon dioxide.
The year 2016 will very likely be the hottest on record, the United Nations said on Monday, the 14th of November, warning of calamitous consequences if the march of global warming cannot be halted. Average temperatures for the year were set to hit about 1.2 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial revolution levels, meaning that 16 of the 17 hottest years on record were this century, said the UN's World Meteorological organization.
It came at you, hey. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. The new record means the world is already more than halfway to the upper limit of 2 degrees Celsius of warming overall, 1.5 degrees Celsius if possible, which United Nations had agreed upon to stave off worst case scenario climate change. Food shortages, population migration and conflict are expected to increase as a result of more frequent and potentially more intense weather-related disasters, the report warned.
Okay, and that's all from us in terms of news. We'll be back after this break.
You're looking for an information technology and communication solution company suitable for your small or medium-sized enterprise? Then look no further than Hive ICT. They aim to provide SMEs with the same level of service expected by large corporations without sacrificing the personal relationship they have with their customers. Offering remote and on-site support, as well as IT system design, network design and installations, server and workstation maintenance, and web design, web application development, and more. Visit www.hiveict.com right away.
Okay, we are back on the social show, and if you missed the news, you missed out on so much stuff that's happening and stuff that you really need to know, really.
In the CSI space.
Exactly. But as you know, on Wednesdays, we have our Woman Crush Wednesday, which we will announce a little bit later in the show. But for now, what we also speak about on Wednesday, if you didn't know, is, CSI is great. CSI is always amazing and it does a lot for the community. But it's very important that we also look at the other side, which is when it goes wrong, when CSI and CSR has gone wrong. So CSI and CSR is a global industry, and most companies employ CSR managers, vice presidents, and experts, and they have armies of CSI and CSR consultants, and hundreds of awards distributed every year within CSI and CSR. In fact, I'm going to one tomorrow. And in addition, countries are increasingly implementing CSR laws, action plans, and even CSR taxes, Lipika. Did you know that?
Wow, but you know what? Another problem, Viwe, is that CSR has often been used primarily as its PR tool, contributing to the perception that it is merely a greenwashing exercise. Now, in the words of Michael Townsend, corporate social responsibility is at best only a partial solution, one which can be misused to create an illusion of responsibility.
Yeah, and talking about responsibility, responsible business practices can result in, positive outcomes such as improved reputation and productivity. And on the other hand, irresponsible practices can lead to significant financial liabilities and can hamper access to finance. So it's only right that we shine a light on some strategies that we think have been negligent or unproductive within CSR and CSI, and things that we can perhaps prevent. Like, you don't want it to happen again and again and again. So today we're actually looking into the mining sector. There's been a lot of good things that come out of the mining sector, gold being one of them, a lot of other things, and platinum and all these great things. But, they've been under the gun a lot because of their negligence in terms of environmental safety. An example, earlier this year, I know that at Dominionville, it's a weird name for a community. It's in Klerksdorp. Makes sense, right? No, sorry if you're from Klerksdorp. What the hell is... Sorry. Okay, I can't say that. Anyway, the Dominionville community in Klerksdorp in the northwest was, or still is, suffering from an increase in respiratory diseases allegedly caused by the dust from tailings dams at the Shiva uranium mine, which is effectively known or owned by the Guptas. Now, according to monitors, don't go there. According to monitors, the mine which the Guptas sort of own 70% of, and Duduzane Zuma, President Jacob's son, also has a little bit of a stake. I just had to put that in there.
Wow, no wonder.
Well, they don't seem to be regarding the tailing dams as a danger. They charged that no action had been taken toward minimizing the damage to the community. And this is what the monitors of the community said. Tailings dam consist of water contaminated with acid, unwanted materials, and leftover uranium, and compromise most of the radioactive properties associated with mining this resource. In addition to the increase in respiratory diseases, a severe reduction in water supply to the community, which has resulted in schools closing down and children having to travel 40 kilometers to the next school. Because of the uranium mining uses copious amounts of water. Now, community members were all affected and wanted the mine to take full responsibility of their actions so that they could clean up their environment. The Guptas are always in trouble.
Always. And it's like, whatever, everything they touch doesn't turn into gold. Like,
no, even if they're mining.
Or it might turn into gold for the first few weeks or months, and we're like, yay, the Guptas. But then this happens.
And this is not the only sort of mine that was affected. I know in Dalmas there was also sort of a similar situation. Also in Mpumalanga, big situation. I just feel like just because you're able to open up a mine, it doesn't mean you can not sort of adhere to the environmental rules. These people work for the mine. These people that you're killing, these people that you're giving these diseases to, and that will also sort of defeat your human capital if you think about it. So for me, it feels like they're just doing things and they're not looking at people as sustainable contributors to the mine. They're just looking at them as you work and you'll die, and it's not really on us.
And whatever you find, you will not get the credit.
Exactly.
If they find goldie.
No, of course not. But mining is such a difficult space to navigate because, so many people have said that, not so many people actually, the EFF have said that the mines need to belong to the people. Yes. And once they belong to the people, maybe people will start, there'll be a bit more of a social responsibility mantra sort of supported by people who own the mine, whoever those people are going to be. But I don't know. I think we have really been sleeping on the kind of stuff that is happening in terms of mining and environmental laws and society, and how societies have been affected by it.
Yes, definitely. But okay, another story that I've also learned about is Anglo American. Now, Anglo American is huge, so the fact that this happened is just crazy. But anyways, on August the 6th, 2013, 1,000 activists protested at the Anglo-American head office in the center of Johannesburg. Now, the climate-conscious citizens took to the streets demanding from Anglo to invest in renewable energies and leave the coal in the ground. Now, the coal Anglo is planning to use for the joint coal-fired power station with Vedanta is of poor quality. And apparently even Eskom deemed this coal unfit for the coal-fired power stations.
Wow.
Yeah. So you must know, if Eskom says no, you can't go behind their back. You just have to leave it, You need to cut it. But anyway, in addition, Vedanta is a company infamous for the human rights violations in India. Isn't that where the Guptas come from? Okay. Sorry.
I won't go there.
So, yes. So they are infamous for the human rights violations in India, destructive business practices, and intransparency. So Anglo said that they were doing more for the environment, but in actual fact, when they were investigated, it showed that they lied. Okay, so Anglo American Platinum was commended by the Center for Environmental Rights for the disclosure of environmental issues in its annual reports, but the study found problems at several mines, including incorrect waste management, high concentrations of nitrates, chlorides, and sulfates in groundwater and surface water, and failure to separate clean and dirty water systems. And then again, you look at the community that was affected during this time. How many children, how many people, fell ill, this is something, and this is something we always say on the show. Sometimes companies care more about their profits instead of the community. And this is a clear illustration of that, because they basically lie to the people,
And that's horrible. I mean, if you think, and what's worse is that the government's response to the crisis, or rather to all of these things that we're talking about, has been insufficient and really, really slow. And, that's so difficult when, where else do you turn when you can see that people are going through so much and the government is sitting on their hands and really doing very little. And I think that's probably why a lot of people want to get into the mines and sort of, nationalize the mines. That's what they always say. But, it all goes back to what we also always say, which is, why would you lie? CSR is more than just a PR campaign.
Yes.
It's more than just putting a few words together, putting a nice advert together about how economic you've been. It is about the actual responsibility that you are aware of,
yes,
and that you work on, and you show within your organization, especially if you're a mining company. So it's very important that companies look at it as more than just a PR campaign, yes, or a good strategy campaign. Another very controversial mine that has been in trouble for killing the environment basically is Lonmin.
Beware. I don't know if we're going to talk about Lonmin. I think it's so heavy. I don't think our people are ready for something that heavy.
Look, I think a lot of people, obviously the Marikana thing, I'm not going to talk about it. Yes. I'm not going to get into that, because that was one of the biggest human rights violations. And then we can talk about it from now till like the end of the show, honestly. But I don't know if people know that they were also guilty of a significant number of failures to comply with environmental laws and permits. These included a failure to meet air quality permit requirements, repeated violations of dust emission limits, poor water management systems, and non-functional sewage systems. Now, there's a report that found that Lonmin had violated various clauses of the mining charter. They failed to comply with good codes of good practice for minerals industry, and they were also guilty of false reporting. And that's exactly what you were speaking about with Anglo.
Yes.
I don't get it. Do you think that you're not going to be caught?
Yes.
Are you that, like, do you have that much of an ego that you think you're just going to be, like, let go because you have diamonds and gold?
Yeah, or because you have money. And many people think that, money goes a long way. It can shut people up. It can ask journalists. We are journalists. I'm not saying this has ever happened to us or will ever happen to us. But people think you can buy a journalist and say, listen, just write this report and make us look good when we know what we're doing behind closed doors.
It's crazy. I think it's very important that we sort of look at companies' intent on extracting minerals at the cost of communities' health and welfare, and the disregarding of these serious social problems and consequences is just a blatant slap in the face and a blatant lack of social responsibility. How do you say you're doing something that you're not doing? What do you mean? Also, when companies do not comply, they have to explain why they messed up. But explaining, the failure to comply is just not good enough. Tough action needs to be taken to ensure that people are protected, that their water is drinkable, and that the air that they breathe is healthy, and that, externalized costs are covered by the industry and not by communities and local governments, perhaps, who do not have the resources. And at the heart of mining, we must remember, guys, at the heart of mining, of course, there's like diamonds and pearls and platinum and coal. But at the heart of mining, there are people and communities and the environment, which need to be taken seriously and to be taken into account. And not just for shareholder profit, but for more things, not for more than just money, like we're saying. We need to take a more serious stand against companies who use the communities at their advantage. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's ridiculous that we are still talking about such companies lying. It's ridiculous that we can still even talk about it on radio. I don't understand. How can they still be working? How can they still be operating?
And I like what you said about it's all about the people, because that's what CSI is about, investing in the communities, And if you're not doing that, then are you even worthy of making profits every end of the month? But you know what? South Africa has failed to protect residents affected by pollution from contaminated water and mine dumps over more than 130 years of gold mining near Johannesburg. Beware. And an independent investigation by the Harvard Law School said, really now.
And obviously, like the city is known for its mining. It's known for the city of gold, and for 130 years there have been no real repercussions, no real work that has been done to make sure that communities that work in these mining industries are protected. And that's bewildering, and that just shows again, the kind of system we were working in a few years ago. I'm talking about the apartheid system, and how it again sort of didn't care about the people that were working for them, which were predominantly black people. And it's CSI in a lot of ways, Libika, is really correcting the injustices of the past. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's really just, it's that political.
Yes.
And we see it in everyday things. Yesterday we were speaking about just dignity in terms of toilets, and today we're speaking about a labor workforce that was predominantly black, that is still being affected to this day, by these big corporations that are predominantly white owned. So we need to always understand that our history plays a very important role in how we have been treating situations like this. How much more can be said of people having respiratory diseases in these communities and nothing being done about it? It's bewildering.
It really is. Yeah. But following the report of the investigation of the Harvard Law School, I just want to add that the International Human Rights Clinic said successive governments, including the current administration, had not complied with international law, reacting too slowly and doing too little to reduce the harm from abandoned and active mines near the city of gold. And also another report said the government gave only limited warnings of the risks, did not perform enough scientific studies on the health effects, and really engaged with residents. Now, obviously, Harvard Law done their job. And the Department of Environmental Affairs could not comment on the findings of the Harvard report,
which is staggering because they are the Department of
You know?
Environmental Affairs. But again, I'm trying to really humanize our people and humanize our government to say, mining has been part of South Africa's footprint since, that's what we're known for. That's what a lot of companies and countries are known for. So how hard can we be on a new government when they're sort of taking over from a government that did not even care about the people? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So how honest can we harshly judge them? How can we be fair enough to judge them for not really looking into the 130 years of negligency? How do we look at it in a way that is honest to the fact that it's been 20 years of democracy and there's been mining for 130 years? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that sort of thing sort of lingers when you want to talk about it from a governmental perspective.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you have any comments, guys, please don't forget to tell us on our social mediums. That is on Facebook is Social TV. And then on Instagram, Lavika?
TV_CSI, and on Twitter, Social1TV.
No, definitely. After the break, we will come back to you with our Woman Crush Wednesday. You do not want to miss a thing.
All things CSI. The show will interrogate and report on the latest initiatives that are supported, developed and initiated by the public and private sector.
Hosted by myself, Viwe Cholwana,
and me, Labika Robert,
every week from 4 to 5 p.m. Hear it on brandlive.co.za.
See it on social-tv.co.za.
brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of talk radio.
Okay, so if you don't know by now, every Wednesday we have our Woman Crush Wednesday. It's a bit of a cliche because everyone's doing it, but really this Woman Crush Wednesday is doing something, or we try and choose a Woman Crush Wednesday who we think is doing phenomenally, especially within the CSI space or non-profit organizations.
Definitely.
And I've had the chance or the pleasure of interviewing this beautiful woman. She goes by the name Yessie. Her name is...
She have a stage name.
Her name is Pam Green, and she's the founder of Second Chances. Now, Pam is... she's lovely. She really, really is lovely, and she has a huge heart, and that's actually what also drew me to get interview her earlier this year. But let me just give you a brief background about who Pam is. Now, Pam has always struggled to fit in, when she was younger, and she started doing volunteer work at around 14 years old.
Wow.
And that's when she knew immediately that this was the type of work she was passionate about and wanted to do. Now, having not come from a privileged background herself, she knew that she would have to do this as a hobby in her spare time. Yet she kept helping and hoped to one day win the lottery, as her website says, and do social upliftment as a full-time career. Now, she studied early childhood development but had to drop out near the end of her diploma when she could no longer afford to study. She went further to work doing small jobs that could pay her rent. Soon she got a job as a teaching assistant, then as a teacher, and within a couple of years she was the grade head teacher. So she's always loved to work with people and little children as well.
And she's motivated.
Yes.
Very motivated.
So as the years went by, Pam's career in the corporate world took off. For the first time in her life, she was financially comfortable. This is what her website states. And following her dreams of traveling the world and, of course, helping those who could not help themselves.
Wow. Okay, and obviously why she is our WCW is because of this amazing Second Chances initiative that she started. And it is a non-profit company in South Africa, and it creates social upliftment via social media. And it also invites followers to assist and to watch the highs and lows that come with life transformation. Second Chances highlights the daily struggles of unemployment, addiction, hopelessness, and the cycle of abuse. It also reminds us that, our circumstances need not to be permanent. I love that. I love that because more people need to know that sometimes you're stuck in the state of mind.
Yes.
And your environment is remember, environments can be changed.
Yes.
Environments can be improved. So you really need to get out of yourself and work hard and persevere, like she says, and that people can always have a second chance. There's nothing better than a second chance.
Definitely.
Nothing.
And that is why she's our Woman Crush Wednesday. And she's actually here. Pam, can you hear me?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. You are Woman Crush Wednesday. So
I'm blushing as you say that. It's a little surreal. But thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, Pam. So helping other people has always been sort of a part of what you do. You've volunteered since, like Labika said, the age of 14. And we know that Second Chances is all about helping people who have nowhere else to go. Can you tell us a little bit more about, the birth of this organization? Where did you really get the passion? I know you've helped, but where did you really get the strength to say, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it?
So it started when I was little already, like you said. I started volunteering when I was about 14 on my own. But before that, with my mom and my parents together, they always did volunteer work. So it was kind of just something ingrained in us from the time we were little. And it didn't matter how much or how little we had, there was always enough to go around. So it was really something from a young age that I just knew this was me.
Wow.
Like you said, I didn't fit in. That's why to me, to be a Woman Crush Wednesday is just phenomenal because I was the biggest nerd. I had one friend.
No ways.
In school, one friend. And just didn't fit in. I was just different. And I guess I'm still different. I wear tutus every day and in my 30s. So never wanted to fit in. Don't want to be the same as everybody else. Everybody has their own passion and purpose to be here. And mine is to, as my little Facebook bio says, I'm just an ordinary person who believes they can change the world.
Wow.
So I started off like that. Like you said, I wanted to win the lottery one day and be able to do charity work full time. Unfortunately, I didn't win the lottery, but I did win the virtual lottery in that I had one of my Facebook posts go viral, and it went globally viral, and over 40 million people around the world saw it.
Wow.
It was shared approximately 40-something thousand times.
Wow.
And that was Joseph, who was on the side of the road. He was about my 5th or 6th post that I'd been putting up. I realized early in the year, last year, when I was volunteering at one of the displacement camps during the xenophobic attacks, that I put up a post of 5 children that had been dropped off late at night, and it was urgent. They had nothing. They weren't even wearing underwear. They had nothing to their names. And I got such a great response. And so I started this trend of posting up a picture and writing a little bit of their story, and it hadn't been done before. And so obviously it only took like 5 or 6 posts and it went viral. And this was the post about Joseph, who lived under Greyston Bridge but had a matric and a CV ready, and he really wanted to turn his life around. And I thought, well, why not try and help create a second chance? Messaged a few of my friends and said, could you please share my post, as I had with the previous few posts that I'd done, and never thought that would amount to what it did. And like I said, that's the virtual lottery these days.
Definitely.
To have a viral post definitely is the virtual lottery. And it catapulted my passion and my drive and my vision into the spotlight. And so this happened about just under 3 weeks before Mandela Day 2015. And so I figured, I've got these 15 minutes of fame, as they like to call it. Let me use it to see how many people I can help. And so I created a campaign called 67 Second Chances, Joseph being the first one, and to try then and help a total of 67 people by Mandela Day. And of course, that was a great success, and we managed to do that. And Mandela Day came and it went, and people were still messaging for help, and people were still offering help. So we dropped the 67 and it became Second Chances.
Wow, that's really phenomenal. And it just shows that, you never know what sometimes you might think, it's just a post, it's not gonna, go global or anything. But you are living proof that, a single post can change, or you actually just happen to be in the right place at the right time, especially with Joseph.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And all the signs were there. The week leading up to that moment was just unbelievable. I had a car accident. My GHD blew up. My light bulbs all blew up. It was just the craziest thing. There was definitely signs to be aware of my environment. And I'm really glad that I took note of those.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Pam, I know that you work with a lot of homeless people sometimes,
Yes.
But tell us more about the steps that you take towards rehabilitating them.
Okay, so when I started with Joseph, I was very naive and with all the best intentions set out to help him. It's been a year and a half now, and I've learned so much, thanks to all the rehab facilities that have helped me and all the people that have really been supportive. But what I did realize was that 80% of our homeless guys at the robots that we meet or that are just living on the streets are actually there because they're drug addicts. Another 15% are there due to mental illness, and about 5% of all homeless people are there circumstantially. So they've lost everything. They've just had really rotten luck. Unfortunately, what happens is those 5% are on the streets for a certain amount of time and they turn to drugs. And so our biggest problem is that once somebody is done with the streets and done with the drugs, they now start to say that they want a job, and we hear that all the time. But you can't put somebody who's in active addiction using heroin or crack cocaine every single day into a job. It's not going to work. So what we've learned is that the first step and the first point of call is always to put the people that we help into rehab facilities. I work with a few different rehab facilities, and very grateful to the Foundation Clinic. They're in Norwood Houghton area, and I did my recovery coaching accreditation through them. So learned so much about addiction and the road to recovery. Put the guys into rehab depending on their needs. So some guys can go to rehab for 3 weeks, some can go for 3 months, some for 6 months, some for a year even. We work with a church-based rehab facility that will take the guys from the street for a year, and we find that that's the most successful route to go. The longer the rehab period, the higher success rate we're seeing. And from there, it's then skills development and job placements.
That's amazing. I remember, obviously, like you said, the craziness that happened in the internet with the Joseph story and sort of how it went viral. However, as much as it sort of impacted a lot of people's lives and a lot of people saw it and they sort of helped, how did it affect you? Because here you are, like you said, you were naive, you didn't really know what is going on. But how did you, sort of mentally and physically and emotionally really work or really get affected by these kind of stories? I mean, how do you keep sane?
So, the reason why I am so passionate about helping the homeless, and especially drug addicted homeless, everyone looks at me and says, like, could you pick a harder category to work in?
Exactly.
And it is. It's the really hard one. But I want to take it back a little bit. So just over 3 years ago, I was in a really abusive and unhealthy relationship. And I actually found myself homeless when I ended the relationship. I found myself homeless on the street. I'd been locked out of our house and I had nothing to my name. And if it wasn't for friends and family who took me in, I would have literally been sleeping on the streets. And so I had some couches and spare rooms to sleep in. And I was really, very blessed. And as I was standing in the domestic violence court, trying to get some of my belongings back, like clothing. I mean, I was literally in the courtroom wearing somebody else's underwear. I had nothing to my name.
Wow.
This man looked at me and he told me he was going to destroy me in front of the judge, in front of the courtroom, and he told me he would destroy me. And I looked at him, and in that moment, like, I was just about to be destroyed. I was so close to being destroyed. And I thought, you know what? No, you're not going to destroy me. You're going to make me stronger, and you're going to make me so strong that I'm going to be able to face anything.
Yes.
And so when the Joseph thing happened, I decided, instead of letting, now I've got 40 million people around the world looking at me, I've made them all believe in this guy, this one guy, like this was it. And now, oh, wait, hold on, he's an addict. Oh, wait, now he's relapsed. Oh, wait, he's choosing to go back to the street. Am I going to let this destroy my dream? No. I'm going to come out even stronger. And I opened up and I was honest. And I was honest with the world that he was a drug addict, that we found this out, that we tried rehab. It didn't work. He's gone back to the streets. We wish him no harm. I'm still grateful. Ultimately, at the end of the day, did it destroy me? No. Did we manage to create a second chance for Joseph? Yes. Did he take it? No. Did he help us create an organization called Second Chances, which has helped hundreds and thousands of other people? Yes. And that's what's important to take note of. And so no situation can destroy you. It's all about how it makes you stronger in the end and how you turn it around and make it work, not only for you, but for everyone around you.
And you are living proof of that. You are living proof of the fact that Second Chances is about making, knowing that your environment is not the end, and no one can tell you.
Exactly.
No one can tell you
For
otherwise.
2 months, I slept on people's couches, and now, thank God, I have a place to call home.
Wow.
And that is also why you are Women Crush Wednesday. Pam, you are really a phenomenal woman. You've been through so much, yet you are here. You're the founder of Second Chances. You have your own radio show. I mean, really, what?
I love my radio show. It's my 1 hour break a day. I do children's programming, and I get to just play like with kids and have light-hearted fun, and all is right in the world.
But okay, Pam, this is the last question we're going to ask you, and I just want to know. I know you've been volunteering for most of your life, and I know you've met a lot of people. You help manage to change their life around, and you've built a lot of relationships on your way. But I want to know what has been your highlight so far, or what story or person or situation has really stood out for you?
Sure. Okay. I'm going to have to narrow it. There's so many. How do I narrow it down?
I can imagine.
Okay. Well, it's Women Crush Wednesday, so I'm going to pick the female that pops into my mind.
Amazing.
And that is a lady named Rosina. Oh, she's like one of my best friends now. I absolutely love her. And I met Rosina. She sent me an email a little over a year ago now. And her email was quite simple. She said, Pam, I live in a shack with my baby. I have literally put every cent I have into doing short courses and getting certificates and qualifications in typing and PA and reception work and everything else. And I get interviews. I send my CV out and I get interviews. But when I go there, they tell me I don't look the part. Pam, I'm wearing the fanciest clothes I have. And she sent me a picture. She was wearing a pink, worn out. You could see it had been washed 1,000 times. It was faded. It had little holes in, and a skirt. But she was so proud. She had about 6 or 7 different certificates of courses she had done.
Wow.
But she wasn't getting the jobs because she didn't look the part. How simple for a couple thousand rand, literally 2,000 rand, a whole new wardrobe with shoes, skirts, tops and everything else. She went to the very next interview in her new Second Chances sponsored wardrobe, and she got the job. And she's been there for a year now.
That is beautiful.
And why do I pick her? Why she's my Women Crush Wednesday every week. And the reason for that is not only did she get the job and she turned her life around, but she donates money back to Second Chances every month, which we so desperately need. And also that shack that she used to live in, she now stays in a lovely apartment with her baby. But the shack that she used to live in, she didn't give it up. She donated it to a homeless boy in her area, and he now lives there free of charge. So it just goes to show that, a second chance for somebody is not just for that individual. It really is for everybody around them.
Yes.
We've created a second chance for her child, and for this homeless youth that she now supports.
No, definitely. It's all about paying it forward.
Absolutely.
One more thing. Can you just let us know a little bit where people can find you if they don't know about Second Chances? Can you give us a few either handles or Instagram handles or your website address? Yeah.
So our website is www.secondchances.org.za. My email address, pam@secondchances.org.za. Of course, on Facebook, please like our page. It's Pam Green Second Chances. There's a lot of different Second Chances page. So Pam Green Second Chances. Instagram, Twitter, and now Snapchat. I finally got into 2016. I'm into Snapchat, all at Pam Green 17.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pam, for your time. I know you're a busy woman, but yes, we just wanted to let everyone know that you are our Women Crush Wednesday, and I'm sure everyone who listened can really testify and say, listen, yeah, she is my Women Crush Wednesday as well, because you're such a strong woman, and you're such a role model.
No, honestly, and your story is beautiful and so inspiring for us. I mean, women go through so much every single day, and for you to have, taken your pain and made it into something so inspirational, I think, you deserve this title. And I hope you know that, and I hope you really are aware of how important you are to a lot of people and to the community and South Africa and the world. Yes. So thank you so much for joining us, and
thank you
so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll just have a wrap up of our show today.
If you're looking for an information technology and communication solution company suitable for your small or medium-sized enterprise, then look no further than Hive ICT. They aim to provide SMEs with the same level of service expected by large corporations without sacrificing the personal relationship they have with their customers. Offering remote and on-site support, as well as IT system design, network design and installations, server and workstation maintenance, and web design, web application development, and more. Visit www.hiveict.com right away.
Well, you are back at listening to The Social Show, rather. And if you missed that amazing interview we just had with Pam Green, you
missed out.
Look,
and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You should be very ashamed of yourself. You know what was crazy? That yesterday we were talking a lot about these hashtags going viral and not really doing much. You know, these viral stories just being about, you know, people getting some sort of awareness or celebrity status.
Yeah.
And here you are with such an amazing organization that thrived on, you know, really was born out of these social mediums and actually has a visible, you know, impact in the community.
Yeah.
So there is really good stories that come out of, you know, these socially infused charities.
There really is. And one thing I've learned now about Pam is that when one door closes, another one opens, you know, and she's had so many doors shut in front of her, you know, so many things haven't worked out for her, but yet she's still picked herself up, dusted herself off, and she made you know, she started Second Chances, and now she has her own show on radio, and she's just really in such a great space, you know, and she's just really such a great role model. But yes, the industry is really tough.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we can all agree with. You know, the industry is very tough, and she helped Joseph, the guy that was homeless, and yes, he went back to the streets, but she didn't say, okay, you know what, I started perhaps the organization after meeting Joseph, so now the organization must die. She still continued, you know, to do what she believed was the right thing to do. So yeah.
No, definitely. And if you missed out on all of the show today, we spoke about CSR that has gone wrong, that has gone wrong, and we sort of looked a little bit on the surface level. Actually, we could have gone a little bit deeper. Maybe we'll do it next week, on how mines have had such a tragic effect on environments and communities that they operate in. So it's very important that we shine a light on the bad as well. Sometimes, you know, not everyone in this world is like Pam Green, who really wants to see good and wants to do good. Some companies are just, you know, really unmoved by whether or not communities suffer at their hands. So it's very important that we show both sides of the coin, and then we interrogate it, and we really speak about these important issues on the social show.
Yeah, and I actually really enjoy talking about it, because I feel like, you know, we should always have a balance, and that's what we also try to do on our show. Yes, there's good, like we mentioned, in CSI, but there's also the bad, and we are here to expose the bad. So if you know of any story that you'd like to let us know about, a CSI story or CSR story gone wrong, obviously with credible sources, we will definitely, we'd like to talk about it and just interrogate it, you know, on the show. But I think
I was going to say, don't forget to get Second Chances online on wherever, you know, platform. I know she had spoken about it. They're also on Snapchat, which is great.
Viwe loves Snapchat.
I'm a Snapchat girl. Okay, so Pam, I'll be following you. But don't forget, guys, they really need your support. If you really want to make a difference, and a tangible difference to someone, please just reach out to them, donate whatever you can, because it will go a long way. Again, you know, it will create a ripple effect of goodness and of good behavior, and that's what we want. That's what we're trying to really you know, instill in people who are listening. So that's all from us at The Social Show. Please catch us again tomorrow, same time at the same place.
27 Boxes in Melville.
Yes.
Talk radio and what it can do for your business. Well, brandlive.co.za has been developed with that in mind and brings you an international first. The brandlive.co.za internet radio platform gives businesses a new voice and opportunity to change the conventional communication platform that a newsletter represents. Facilitated by leading industry experts, the brandlive.co.za platform offers a high-quality digital talk radio medium for companies to communicate their new developments, create customer-centric radio content, develop an added value in terms of client relations, and create a better flow in terms of feedback and interactivity to their existing customer base and market. Simultaneously, the platform can also open a brand or business to a new group of potential customers. Technology is constantly shaping the way we communicate and consume information, which presents your business with a simple and affordable way to address your customer or client in a modern, multifaceted setting. Internet radio is now available for your business, a powerful corporate branded tool to complement your existing communication platforms. In today's competitive market, you need to use every tool available to retain and cultivate loyal customers. Online corporate branded radio offers you an exciting range of communication tools uniquely tailored to your brand and addressing your communication challenges. With the brandlive.co.za radio platform, you have the power to brand your business in the way you like. You are able to develop content with your own production team and have the opportunity to interact with your customers in real time on issues such as quality assurance, customer service, and any other operational matters. brandlive.co.za. Now your brand has a voice.